Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fringe Coverage. This podcast profiles the stories, swings, and stars of the LPGA Tour. And whether you're new to women's golf or a longtime fan, hopefully this podcast helps you develop your own rooting interest in women's professional golf. And today, man, Tom, I know we're fired up for this one. We're joined by one of the most recognizable and authentic personalities in women's golf. LPGA Tour winner, Solheim Cup star, and now broadcaster Mel Reid. After a very successful playing career, you can now find Mel's fingerprints on everything these days, whether it's in the broadcast booth, the Golf Channel studio, on-course reporting, co-hosting the very popular podcast Quiet Please with Mel and Kira, and serving as vice captain of the European Solheim Cup team. She's a proud mom, arguably one of the swaggiest players I've ever watched play golf. And if I'm not mistaken, she's also the voice now on the LPGA's most recent 30-second TV commercial. Mel, I'm exhausted just reading all of that. Welcome to Fringe Coverage. How are you?
I'm good. I was exhausted as well. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, sorry about the commercial. People are going to have to listen to me a lot more than they probably wish. So I apologize for that.
Has Kai picked up on it yet? Does he hear it when he's watching TV now?
Yeah, he's like, Mummy. And he's like looking at me and I'm like, no, it's just ignore it, buddy. I was like, just ignore it. It's all good.
Well, I mean, let's start right there. We were talking a little bit off air about this. Obviously, being a tour professional, there's crazy schedules and flights that we've documented a lot. You've made the transition now to the broadcast career. Doesn't feel like you've slowed down much, Mel. What are your weeks and travel schedules compare to as your time as a player?
Yeah, I'm traveling a lot. And it's kind of congested. Like, as you know, with like the seasons and stuff, like, yeah, it's pretty full on from like the end of March. And then I usually won't finish until the CME Championship. I'm taking a little bit of time off, kind of July and August, because we're due for our second kid. So I don't think it would have gone down very well if I'd have just, gone over to Britain and gone and commentated on a few of the European swing events. But yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's definitely a different way of traveling. I don't have to lug my golf clubs everywhere, which has been nice. I actually look forward to it more. I used to hate it as a player. I now look forward to it. I do try and come home in between, just for a day or so if my schedule allows it. But yeah, it's definitely. I remember when I went into broadcasting, I remember talking to Carly. I said, well, I'll be home a lot more. And I'm kind of not. So it's just the way it is for a little bit while I'm doing my rookie hours. And then hopefully we can kind of schedule a little bit more family friendly in the next few years.
Nice.
And with the new schedule, it seems to be a little bit more streamlined. So I'm assuming that that's better for you. Maybe you're a little bit jealous that wasn't the case a few years ago, but
yeah, we were going like East Coast, West Coast, Asia, East Coast, West Coast. It was kind of, it's still a little bit like that, but it's definitely getting better. It was one of the main things when I was on the player board with players is, the schedule just has to just be a little bit more make sense, which is a challenge because, the LPGA is a little bit different. Like we can't just demand certain events like the PGA Tour does, and they have their staple events like on the West Coast and East Coast. But yeah, I think Craig's recognized it very quickly and he's making adjustments accordingly, which is good.
Well, and I have to imagine, look, it's a long season, right? It's like January through, I mean, you include things like Grant Thornton, like you can make the argument that it's 11, 12 months a year. I have a feeling selfishly you would like a shorter season because you can go find some snow where you live. Maybe if you had January, February off, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I would much prefer that. But yeah, I mean, look, it's great that we have the amount of events that we do. I think that players, they do get tired, especially if they win, and then they start at Hilton Grand Vacation as well in January. And if they do play Grand Thornton, they literally have like 4 weeks off, which doesn't really give you an off season. It doesn't really give you opportunity to work on anything. So players tend to go home, maybe skip TOC, which is a shame because that's a great event. So yeah, I think the schedule could be a little bit shorter. Like we go to Asia twice, that's a little bit of a drag. Even though they're amazing events, like it's just a lot to go to Asia a couple times a year. I would love it to just kind of be the end of the season. Asia swing, that would be great. And I think the players would like that as well. But look, we're definitely making changes in the right way. So I feel like hopefully in a few years we'll have it sorted.
There is progress. It might not be as fast as any of us want, but there seems to be some momentum, some energy. I'm curious, as you look at your transition from playing professional golf, what skills from your time as a pro golfer have translated best to your career now broadcasting?
It's actually very similar. Like, I love the prep side of it. I really enjoy, there is so much prep that goes into broadcasting, whatever role that is. I love that. I love, when I'm doing on course, it's very different to being in studio on course. I love going out on the ground, like walking the course, talking to players. Like, I love seeing how things react. I love kind of seeing how how they chip, how they're navigating the short game stuff around, especially at major championships. And then the booth stuff is quite interesting because you're trying to tell stories, right? So you actually get really in depth about players and, you know, what's a cool story to be able to talk about on the broadcast. So I've really enjoyed getting to do that as well. So yeah, it's very similar. And I think the cool thing about it is I'm an extrovert, so golf was a bit weird for me. Like, I hated being on my own, which is why I love Solheim Cups, right? But I hated it. So I always just wanted to play golf with my buddies, or I created a very close knit team around me and tried to kind of keep that as close as possible so I didn't feel very lonely. And I feel like in the broadcast space, you're part of a team again. So it's really fun. Like, you have the banter, you have the camaraderie, you obviously have the production meetings before, and then afterwards you may go to dinner, have a couple of drinks. Like, it's just a lot more kind of in line to my personality. So it's been a really nice and refreshing transition, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. I can't imagine that transition is easy in the sense of how much control you have over your game versus now being part of again, this orchestrated symphony of things that's going on. How you mentioned those stories that you're trying to tell, and obviously you have your own personal relationships, and I'm sure you're doing your legwork to develop those new relationships with some of the new players on tour. How do you balance being honest with the empathy you have for players when you approach critiquing players, when you are telling stories? How do you walk that line knowing you're with them every week? Has that been a natural thing, or do you have to walk on eggshells at times?
Yeah, I mean, I can swear on this podcast, right?
Absolutely. Let
Okay,
it
good.
rip.
Like, I'm not a bitch. Like, I feel like, I think because I was in the arena for so long and I've had my fair share of criticism from the media, I feel like I'm pretty good at being critical, but not not aggressively. Like, we've had to speak before about Nelly Korda, like at the Women's US Open, when she made a 10 on her third hole. Like, we have to talk about it, right? We have to talk about how she did it. But then, I kind of go about it as like, how did she react after that? She did shoot level par after that, but that really took her out of the event. So I do soften the blow with what I'm saying. And I think that that's something that is just my personality anyway. I kind of see the good in things, but I do have to be critical at times. Like, that is my job. Like, I have to talk about what I'm seeing and I have to give my opinion. And I'm very confident in giving my opinion because I've been there, done that, and I know how it feels. I know the thoughts that are going through their head. But then, I've been critical of Nelly before. Maybe the way that she's reacted with stuff. Yet this year, she's a totally different person, and I could not praise her enough because that is a huge challenge to overcome, adversity and things like that. So that's where I feel like I will always have a good relationship with players because I will always put you on a massive pedestal when you deserve it. But if there is critique to be made, I will say it, but in a little bit of a softer way than some maybe of the analysts may say. But you have to give your opinion. Like, you have to do it because that's what you guys deserve that. And like, I want to give my opinion. Like, this is why she's doing that. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not going to baseline stuff. Like, that's not the way I am. Like, I've never been like that. Like, I'm very honest, and I will stick to that.
And that's very refreshing because, you have Mark and me who, while we like golf, I mean, we couldn't do, 1/100th of what these players are doing. So I don't necessarily always feel most comfortable critiquing players just because, I've never been there. I can't do anything close to them. But somebody like you who has been very successful on the tour and now can, you transition to the broadcast, you have a little bit more of a different perspective. And I think your opinion is a little bit more valued because of that.
Well, yeah, I think that's why I have such a good relationship with the players as well, because what I'm saying is usually correct in that sense, because I have been in these situations. I mean, I've had the highs and I've had the absolute lows, so I know what it feels like. I know what they're feeling. And so I just think it's important to get that across. I mean, that's the whole point of my job, right? And I enjoy talking about it. Like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows on tour. It's really challenging. It's difficult to be a professional athlete. It's really difficult to overcome adversity. It's really difficult, when everybody's kind of looking at you to win this event. Like, it's a challenge. And so I think that it's interesting to talk about, because I feel, as you just alluded to, like, I don't think many people can talk about that. And so I think it's an interesting perspective.
Did the broadcast companies come to you because they knew you would be so good in the booth, or was this something that you pursued and you always kind of wanted to do when you were done playing?
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to. I've been very interested in it. Like, I got an opportunity back in 2018 to do BBC Radio for the Men's Open and then the Ryder Cup. Absolutely loved that. And then when the opportunity came about, I wasn't in the Women's US Open. I got a call on the Sunday night. I think, Morgan had a family emergency, and they said, would you mind coming on the live from? Can you fly in tomorrow? And I was like, sure. Didn't think anything of it. Had no idea what I was doing, like literally not a clue. And then got the opportunity the following year, the Women's US Open at Lancaster. And I then started to realize, like, okay, I feel like my playing days are coming to an end. Like, I'm kind of over it. This is something that I feel would be a really nice transition, and I absolutely love it. And I'm still doing my rookie hours. Like, I appreciate you saying I'm good, but I still feel like, obviously, I have so much to learn still. And it's been awesome, like, working with Brandel, like, working with Anna Jackson, working with Kira, like, worked for Sky last week, like, working with, Laura, a good friend of mine. Like, these are people that I, idolize in the broadcast space. And so to be able to work with them and learn from them week in, week out has been just, like, amazing. Like, cannot thank them enough.
So I was telling Tom this. One of the many things that fans clamor for, that as tours try to make progress, come up a lot. A lot of people talk about, we want to learn more about the players. We want to do walk and talks, want to hear. And walk and talks are something that are not new, right? They've been going on for a while. You've been on both ends of a walk and talk now. And I was just telling Tom, I watched a clip of you. This is years ago now. You're in Hawaii, and you did like a 3-hole walk and talk. Like you were like. And I mean, you had Carly on the back. I mean, it was a unique week, but it just made me think. There is an art to this. Of I think there's a lot of things people don't understand of, especially on your side now when you are the weeks that you're on course. What type of flexibility do you have on the broadcast side of saying, hey, we were planning on interviewing Nelly, but she just tripled 7, so let's back off. What type of thought goes into, on the front end of a week, who you might be approaching, but also, is there flexibility in the way that they're playing? Or do you still say, hey, no, this is still a time that we want to talk to them? And do the players get any veto rights along the way?
Yeah, no, 100%. We have obviously a bunch of ideas of players that we would love to get that interaction with, but there's a few things that can kind of throw a spanner in the works there. Like, one, if they're not playing good. 2, we always approach the player beforehand, before the rounds even started. Like, hey, we would love to do a walk and talk on, this might be on a Wednesday, like on Friday, all dependent. Like, if you don't want to do it, the player's in complete control, because if you go to a player and you kind of force it on them, they're not gonna give you a good interview, right? So they have to be open about it as well. There has to be a trust there. Like, we're not going to come in your space. Like, we're very, like, Stubbs is amazing at it. Like, she'll kind of radio into us like, hey, let's just skip this one. And she's not got a good vibe. So listen, we're here to help the players, right? Like, we want the players to come across great. And so they are very much in control. We just put the feelers out there and we're saying, look, we would love to do this. And the players trust Stubbs. I would like to think when I'm doing it, the players trust me. But again, if we get a vibe that that's probably not the right thing to do, we'll can it. And if the player says last minute, hey, like we've had it on the live from desk where we've had certain players slotted in to come on our desk, and 10 minutes before they're like, no, but that's fine. We have something to fill that in. Like, we're prepared for that. So it's ultimately down to the player. Yeah.
Got it.
Do you have somebody in your ear saying you need to go talk to that person right now, and you go, no, she just tripled. I don't want to talk to her.
I'm like, no. I'm like, abort mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, if that was me and I was a player, like, you can get a look from a player. Like, you just get a vibe,
Sure.
The clip I was watching was, you were kind of just flaming Carly every chance you got. It was like she dropped a putter cover while she was caddying, and you mentioned, oh my God, look at you shaking your head right now.
So they did that, and I actually played really good for them few holes, and then I played like absolute shit. I missed a couple like 10. And Carly was just pregnant then, so she felt like shit, and I made her carry like a proper carry bag. Yeah, I was like, what bitch? I was a bitch then, but I just didn't think. But yeah, she carried for me at shot right the first time. I just needed it. I was playing like shit, and I was like, "Can you just caddy for me?" And she was just carnage. It was absolute carnage. She just had no idea what she was doing, bless her. And it was just like the first hole, she literally stood, I'm not joking you, a foot away from my ball. I was like,
oh no,
Lottie, can you just move a little bit? She was like, oh right. And I said, can you just move a bit more? And then she got in the hump with me, and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna end in divorce. But she crushed it in the end. I told her about raking the bunkers, and I said, just take your time. Like, it's got to be done properly. Honestly, it was like a Japanese garden. Like, she was there for like 10 minutes, just like zenning herself. Yeah.
I mean, this clip, I'm going to put, for those of you listening, I'm going to put this in the show notes because it cracked me up. You were saying how she couldn't read greens. She had gone for a fist bump after you made a putt and you were having none of it. Like, so she was just kind of left hanging. All of it was just gold for 3 holes. Yeah. And again, it was a unique set of circumstances where obviously you'd been playing decent golf and they knew they had an opportunity with you. But as we're going to dive into a lot of the state of women's golf, but before we do, let's start with 2026. And you can put your analyst hat here on. 2025 and 2026 could not have been more different on the LPGA in terms of the number of winners year over year and kind of the cream rising this year. As you look at, we're a couple weeks away from the second major of the year. What are some of your favorite storylines that have surfaced this year?
I mean, obviously, I think Nelly. It's what we want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Gino's won a couple times, but it's almost been completely overshadowed with Nelly's performance. So I think that she's a completely different player. She's done some amazing work in the offseason with Dave Whelan, her coach. She's a lot more neutral at the top, where she can just absolutely go at it and know that it's going to start online, and you can see that confidence in her. I feel like she's grown and matured as a player. I think we were talking about adversity earlier. Like, she can deal with that a lot better now. She's being a lot kinder to herself, and it's showing, right? I think the most impressive performance for me of the year so far was Chevron. I think she had that big lead, 6-shot lead going into the weekend. All eyes on Nelly. If she didn't win that, it would have been an absolute disaster. So I think the way that she handled herself that whole week on a really difficult golf course, like that could get away from you very quickly. And the way that she played is so against her natural way of playing. Like, she had to play away from flags, and the way that she just was, the game plan her and Jason had, the discipline, the execution, all of it was just, I mean, it's the dream. Like, for the LPGA is to have Nelly Korda world number 1 and just turn it up, and they have that. So hopefully they had that a couple of years ago when she won 7 times, but I feel like it wasn't really captivated the way that it could have done. Whereas this year they have another opportunity. So hopefully they can, really take advantage of this and really elevate everything.
We're recording this just a couple weeks before the U.S. Open, and that's a big question mark for Nelly, right? It certainly is how she plays in U.S. Opens, and especially on the stage in L.A. at Riv. It's such a big moment for the LPGA, just that tournament being there, quite honestly, in one of the media capitals of the world. But to be in the place where we are with her at the top of the game, not to mention just Gino's playing well, Hyoju's playing well, like all these multi-winners, like Hannah's winning more than people realize.
Yeah.
This is a big moment that, selfishly as a fan, this is not the week that I want I'm going to throw some stray bullets here that I don't mean to, but this is not the time for the Aaron Rise and the JJ Spawns to rise. Like, I want a big name at winning Riv, again, just selfishly for the sport to have more momentum. How will you be out at Riv?
Yes. Yeah. I'm doing live from, yeah.
Have you played there before?
No, never played there.
This, I cannot wait to see this happen. What's the chatter around the tour about the U.S. Open making its way to Riviera?
Just that it's good. I think anytime we get to play a big golf course like that, like a well-known golf course, like that always helps us. It helps engagement with fans. Like, they can remember shots that certain players, on the men's game have played, and now we're actually going to be able to, play these courses. it's going to be difficult. Obviously, the greens are going to be tricky, different kind of grass. They're going to be a little bit poey. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I hope they make it tough as hell.
Yes.
And let the cream rise to the top. I mean, that's what US Open should be. It should be the toughest test of the year, and not be scared of putting the ladies to the test or the women to the test. Like, let them figure it out. Let's try and get the best out of these players and get their strengths really, emphasized more than ever. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. And again, yes, obviously, I think that's the one that Nelly wants. It is the one that Nelly wants. That was stupid to say. So we'll see how she does. I mean, she's in the prime right now. It's the best I've ever seen her hit it. Best I've seen her mentally. But it's also going to be a huge feat, I think, for her to win. It just is. It's just the US Open. Anything can happen. So, but I agree with you. It'd be an incredible. She deserves it. She really does.
Well, let's talk about. You just mentioned putting the LPGA on a certain platform where the cream rises and they're tested, and there has been a lot of dialogue lately. Monday Q published an article about how the LPGA needs to be less guarded, more vulnerable, play it safe, and not play it safe in order to grow. And I think there's some truth in there. I think there's some misguided comments in there, but I think at its core, obviously we want this tour to take off, and we want to treat this tour like every other professional sport and make sure that there is appropriate discourse about it. And I, as two men that have decided to talk about the women's game, we are incredibly guarded about the way we approach this. Whereas if we were talking about Rory and Keegan or somebody else, we would be letting it fly way more comfortably, because back to what you were talking about earlier, not only have we not been a female professional golfer, we've never been a female either. Like there's so much that we can't speak from reference to. But I'm curious, you've been on both sides of this now. You've been a player, a member of the media trying to tell these stories. Can you speak to the real pressures or double standards that LPGA are faced with, and maybe some that need to change?
Yeah, I think course setup is a big issue. I get it, like run-of-the-mill events, whatever. We know that 25 under is going to win. There's not much rough. But there's certain weeks of the year, like I do think the US Open do a good job. Okay, USG do a great job. KPMG, we usually do a great job, right? British Open, that they always do a good job, because it's just weather dependent, right? But I do wish that there was certain setups. I feel like the course setups on the LPGA kind of lean towards comfortability and like middle of the pack. And so nobody really goes for like strength and power, or there's not a huge amount of thinking that needs to happen on the LPGA. Like our pins are not really that tight. So if you miss it short side, you're okay, right? Well, that needs to change. Like we need to show, I know how incredible these players are, but I don't think it's getting shown, 6-7 times a year. And it shouldn't be shown every week. I get that, right? But 6-7 times a year, like, let's play really difficult, challenging setups. Like, get the rough up, put bunkers at, 250, so the longer hitters can hit it over. So they get the benefit of hitting an 8-iron in. The short hitters have to lay back, and they've got hybrid in, right? Yeah. Put the pins, like, tricky. Put them on the side of the greens where you do have to have a creative short game, or you have to play away from the pin. I feel like that would help create a bit more drama, especially coming down the stretch. And the biggest concern for me, and I've spoke to Craig about this, as a broadcaster, right? We try and give as much energy, and we try and tell the stories, right? But let's just get aside, we definitely need more cameras, right? We need to go from player to player to player to player, right? We can't just be on a player for like 3-4 minutes. There's so much we can talk about. But the greatest moments in sport are not just because of the shot that was hit or thrown. It's from the atmosphere. It's from the reaction of the crowd. We need more fans through the gate. Like, it's amazing that we're playing for 9, 10, 12 million. We've been asking for that for years, that kind of respect in the women's game. We now have that. But it looks weird when we're playing for 9 million and 12 people are watching Nelly Korda win.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, what are we doing? And I think that if you have fans coming through the gate, I've been saying this for 10 years, like, just let people in for free for a few years, just to get people, like, get the communities involved, get the local radio stations at the golf tournaments, like, treat them like kings, like, promote the event. Let's do some marketing here. Because when we have fans and you see it at Solheim Cups, right? That's the biggest fans. That is, the atmosphere is incredible. It either makes you rise to the occasion or you crumble. And that's what creates drama. And that is why we always get drama at Solheim Cup, right? That's why you always get drama in, the men's majors, like, obviously, especially the Masters. But I feel like how good is Charley Hull down the stretch? Right. I know she would rise to the occasion, right? And there's certain players that have won multiple times that I think would crumble, and then they'd come back stronger and then they would rise to the occasion. Like that's what would create a strength in the tour that nobody's talking about. The players are incredibly talented. They work incredibly hard. The tour just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, but let's challenge them. Let's challenge them, and then let's challenge them with like an atmosphere as well, just to see, that's what creates really cool moments. And I feel like that's what we're lacking. And that's the biggest challenge that Craig's going to have is marketing our tournaments. And we also need them to, this is the last thing I'll say, but we also need to have like stable venues, right? Like we need to know, right, that's why we get good crowds at Arkansas, right? Like we know it's that week. We know it's at that golf course. We used to have it at Kingsmill. We used to have it at Rochester. Those tournaments are kind of gone now. Like we used to have it at Mission Hills, when we used to play the Kraft Nabisco. Our crowds there were, when I first played there, you couldn't move. Like it was incredible on the first tee, even on a Thursday, let alone Sunday afternoon, was just electric. And, I think now, hopefully we find that new identity at Chevron, but we need some atmosphere there, man. Like we need to get people through the gate big time.
No doubt.
One of the points that you made earlier is actually something that Mark's brought up numerous times. Mark really wants to see difficult shots being made. He doesn't want to see anybody winning by 25 or something like that. Do you think that there's been some kind of discussion behind the scenes of making the courses a little bit easier so the scores look more impressive to the casual fan?
I'm sure there is. I mean, when I was on the board, like, the tournament gets a lot of power and they want to see birdies. And I'm like, I get that. Excuse me. At some events, I get that. But sometimes, like, 8 under is an incredible show of golf for 4 days, and they are drained. Like that. And again, there has to be certain events where, yes, 25 under will win. Like, I get that. But then why not make, aside from the majors, why not make 3 or 4 really challenging, fun events where, like, if you get to double digits, my word, you have played, like, stellar golf. You know what I mean? So I do think that it's a challenge because there is a lot of power to the event, more so than the tour. But I wish the tour would be like, listen, can we just try this out? Like, let's narrow the fairways, let's up the rough. Like, the girls don't miss fairways, right? The fairways are way too wide on the LPGA. Let's narrow it, but let's stick up the rough a little bit. Like, rarely we have challenging rough. Maybe at US Open, KPMG, maybe, right? Like, let's figure this out, because the thing is, if girls start missing fairways in these tournaments, right, and they're like, wow, I really have like no strength, like I have no forearm strength, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go in the off season, they're going to work on themselves, they're going to get stronger, they're going to get, they're going to be able to hit out of the rough, they're going to figure out how to hit out of the rough, and that's going to elevate everything. Like, that's going to be really cool to see. Like, someone trying to hit a 7-iron, chopping a 7-iron out and hitting on the green from 160. Like, that's fun for me to see, instead of them just wedging it out, wedging it to 2 feet and holding the putt. Because it is very much just if you hit your wedges good and you putt good, you're going to do well in the LPGA. No one's striving for power. No one's trying to hit it 300 yards. Like, no one's doing that in the off season. And why is that? Because the men's game is all about power. And I'm not saying that that's we still need finesse. Like, we are very different. But why is no one going for power? Because you don't need it. You don't need it on the LPGA. The longer players hit 3-woods off the tee, and the middle pack just hit driver everywhere. And it's just not, I don't know. The most boring thing to commentate on is an LPGA hitting a tee shot, because they're going to hit the fairway. Like, even if I say this is a really challenging tee shot, it's left to right. Oh, blah, 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 you've got to hit the left. Perfect in the middle. I'm like, oh, well, that just made me like an idiot. Done. Because it is a difficult drive. Like,
and when everyone's doing it, it doesn't look impressive anymore if everyone's doing it.
No, it doesn't. Exactly. It doesn't look impressive anymore. It's filtered us down. So,
I mean, Nelly won, I can't remember if it was Chevron week, Tom, or the week before. I was reading off some stats. like obviously she led the field in everything the weeks that she's been winning. But the thing that like always stands out to me is she's always number one playing from the rough. And that, back to your point, is like that's the skill that like she's pumping the ball and she's not getting rewarded. It's not like the fairways are opening up where she's pumping it. So she's probably has more balls in the rough, but she's still, her proximity to the pin is beating everybody from lies in the rough because it's a skill that she has that doesn't, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter that much. It's an impressive stat to me, but if everyone's hitting fairways, Nelly can do from the rough, what they're doing in the fairway in terms of proximity to the pin. Okay. So there's the golf side of building drama, and then there's the personality side and connection, right? Like, look, you look at any LPGA or PGA player; these are the best golfers in the world, and I don't think people understand how slim the margins are of number one in the world versus number 400 in the world in terms of what they can do with a golf club in their hands. But as a rooting fan, I know you played team sports growing up. Tom and I are huge team sports fans. What I root for are the people behind it, right? Or against, right? Like the PGA Tour benefits from the Patrick Reeds and the Bryson DeChambeaus, people that are controversial at the very least, right? But also someone like Scottie. We've been super outspoken about Scottie at his core was not the most interesting person to start. When that guy starts winning, starts doing, you start asking him more questions, you start learning more about him. As your career progressed, you were more willing to show your real personality publicly. I'm curious, kind of both introspectively looking back at your own career, but now kind of feathering that on to looking at all the current day players. Was that intentional on your part? Did you get tired of kind of being a media trained athlete and want to be open up? Like, was that an intentional effort on your part, or was that just you coming more open with the way you were going to treat the media? And then do you want to see more of that of the LPGA, or is that an unfair expectation?
It's funny. So I did get media trained when I was like 18 years old, and I was almost getting bored of myself from the interviews because I was like, I'm saying the same shit, like processed and all this crap, right? So I just took it on my own to just be myself, and I actually learned that the media, I then built a trust with the media. It was weird. Like they almost would like kinder to me because they knew that they were going to get me authentically. I think it's a big challenge on the LPGA. I think a couple of things. I think one, the most incredible thing about the LPGA is it's a global tour. It's one of our biggest challenges as well, right? Like we have so many cultures, like cultural differences. Like the Korean players, like the South Korean players, they kind of do their work and they leave. I know the personalities of the girls because I'm in the locker room with them, right? But for them to show that in media is quite a daunting task because they already get massively criticized, even if they play bad, let alone give an opinion on something, right? So I totally get it. I totally get why they're shut off and they just play it safe. I think that, to your point with Scottie, is that the thing is the men's game it's so, you can see it, right? Like the marketing side of it, like they have so much more, money at their disposal to throw at that kind of thing. And so men don't have to be as loud. I feel like women, to get noticed in women's sport in general, we have to be louder. We have to be doing something different. Caitlin Clark, right? Just absolute boom, with the WNBA and women college basketball, right? Because she can throw threes from the halfway line, right? No one's doing it from half court. No one's doing that, right? So we have to do something either extraordinary or be louder. And I think that we've talked about like the players showing their personality off a little bit. Like I think the tour is doing a better job of that. But at the same time, like I think just women in general, we're quite nervous. We're nervous about saying something and losing something, right? We don't see the gain from it. Whereas I always saw the gain. I was like, if I say something and people don't like it, whatever, but it might gain me some fans and it might gain my opinion being published out there. So I always saw it as a gain, whereas I feel a lot of these players are so scared to be criticized, and I understand that. And I think that that's just us as women, like we're a little bit more emotional. Like guys, I feel don't give a shit. They just say it how it is and they can just say it. And so I do feel a little bit of sympathy towards the players, and I do see how they are a little bit standoff. And you've got to understand as well, right? Like golfers are weird, dude. Like we're weird. Like we're very like
Yes.
we're introverts, right? I'm not, but majority of them are introverts. Like they don't really they just want to go play. They enjoy being in their own company. They enjoy doing their own thing. It's difficult for them to really trust people and like get themselves out there. So I'm very aware that it's not a team sport, right? It's not where you're in the locker room and your mates have you back. You're on your own. So you're very vulnerable. And so I do have sympathy with it. And it's always going to be a big challenge. The men don't have to be as loud. They don't have to show their personalities as much because with the stuff that they have at their disposal, the cameras, the social media, they kind of just have that naturally. And if they have it like they show a little bit of authenticity, that's a bonus. Whereas we have to have it everything extreme, and that's a really vulnerable place to be.
Yeah.
There was that weird thing that happened a few months ago or a few weeks ago, where Caitlin Clark walked out with Morgan Wallen at a concert in Indy, and the fans were really excited about it. And like, oh, that's really good for her. Like all this publicity that's welcomed. But then there was a backlash because Morgan Wallen's a little bit of a controversial figure with stuff he says, but nobody seemed to care when Travis Kelce did it or when Tom Brady did it or Peyton Manning. So it does still seem like there is a little bit of a double standard with some of these athletes. They're expected to hold themselves on a different pedestal.
Absolutely. And the thing is with Caitlin Clark, for example, she has a franchise behind her as well, right? Like backing her. She can have someone in the media from the WNBA backing her and saying, guys, back off. Or she has her teammates going, Caitlin, who gives a shit? We don't have that. Like, we are literally like, we don't have any protection really, which is why I think players just close themselves off. They make their own protection because they are nervous about things like that. And so it's a massive challenge. Like the LPGA want them to tell more stories and be more themselves, but I totally understand how the players are a little bit standoff about it because they have no protection. Like, who's protecting them,
Tom and I talk about this a lot. Like, we started a podcast as a hobby because we enjoy the sport. But I mean, if you think about like big time media, you think about any talking head you see on ESPN, when it comes to men's sports, people are hucking takes left and right about why someone should get fired, why they should be benched, but it with no consequence, right? And there's a lot of, that's a whole nother road we won't go down of. It's pretty easy to be a member of the media sometimes and just throw stuff with no consequence. But there is a huge difference in us talking about a sport, and I don't want to feel like I have to be careful how I critique Lottie Woad's round. And because I'm not trying to throw strays at Lottie. If anything, I just want more out of Lottie because she's awesome. And we're recording this right after a win of hers. But I know for a fact that if Rory, let's use a perfect example. Let's use a real life example. We are last year, Kroger, good friend of yours, gets a win under her belt at the expense of a 4-putt on the 18th green from Gino. And Gino rallied back great from that as the season went on. But like in that moment, I can tell you right now, fill in any PGA player's name and I would have absolutely torched them. I would say they totally blew it. They choked. You choose your verb, right? And not because I want to rip them down, but just like, hey, that was a choke job. And I can remember talking to Tom about, Gino's one of my favorite players, so I was like, I don't really know how to talk about this because the last thing I want is to get blackballed or someone saying, hey, don't ever talk to them because they talk bad. It's like, no, it's like the way we talk about sports, and let's call it what it is. Also, Charlie's my favorite player of all time, so she ended up winning, so it was a very weird week as a fan. Do you find that to be true just as a broadcaster, especially of the women's game, that as a woman yourself, talking about the tour you played on, do you find yourself at all self-editing in a way that you wouldn't if you're talking about your favorite soccer team, for example?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like I was on the ground that week, so I couldn't really have much of an input in the
Yeah.
in the situation. But if I was in the booth, like I would have
tough.
said like that is just what the hell is Gino doing? You know what I mean? Like she had two hands on the trophy. Like what is she doing? And that's nothing to take away from Charlie, but I mean she basically handed it to her on a plate, right? But then, for example, like I would have critiqued that because it was shocking. Like it was a shock. Like all of us were in shock. But then when she wins the next week, I'd have gone, wow, that just goes to show what a player she is. Like she goes from, crying on the 18th because she knows that that's probably one of the worst moments in her career, and it probably was, because someone like Gino hasn't been through that much adversity, with all due respect. Like, you know, she's so good. But then the next week I'd have been like, but what a mental challenge that would have been to not only play the next week, but to then win and dominate, really. I'm like, that to me is incredible for someone at such a young age that's never really dealt with adversity to just straight off the bat, just fix it. I mean, that's how I would have done it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not, when I say like I criticize players, I just, even with my football team, like my mates will just like chat shit about Derby, and I'm like, well, I thought they played good in the middle bit, and they're like, no, they're shit. And I'm like, right, well, I think it's because I was an athlete.
You're an athlete.
Like,
yeah.
I can see the good things because you have to, right? So I think that's, like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat stuff when I'm critiquing players. That's literally how I would talk, like, to my mates. So that's something that I try and get across, is like literally when I'm critiquing or whether I'm talking highly of someone, I would speak about that with my friends. So that's where I'm generally just being authentic. That's just me.
And that's what we want. You know, when Mark and I text about, you know, the San Diego Padres or something like that, we're not just all sunshine and rainbows. Like, you know, you want to chat and say, yeah, they blew this game and they really sucked yesterday and stuff like that. So really, you know, it would be great to be able to talk about all sports like that.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But it is fun, isn't it? Just rinse.
Well, let's talk about, I mean, this has to be one of your favorite topics, and there's no way a Mel Reid interview goes without talking about the Solheim Cup. So I told you this off air. The fans know I became a big fan of the LPGA in 2021 because of the Solheim Cup at Inverness, and very specifically watching you and Leona Maguire absolutely wreck the U.S. team at a time where, again, that cup ended in a very interesting way. You have a shot that lives rent-free in my head, and I hate you for it, by the way. You and Leona afternoon foursomes on 18. You hit the grossest, like probably wedge 9-iron.
It was a cut 8-iron, actually.
A cut 8.
Yeah.
That I cannot explain how barely this covered.
Yeah.
And gets to within, 2 feet of the pin, and then you end up scraping out a half in that match. And spoiler alert, fans, it ends up in that wonderful, wonderful retain rule tie that you'll call a win that I call horseshit. But you know what? Let's move on. But that still haunts my dreams, but it's exactly what I love about the Solheim Cup. You always seem to get so pumped up about that event. We just released this past week our interview with Angela Stanford, obviously another person who loves the Cup. Why does the Solheim Cup unlock something emotionally in players that normal tour golf doesn't?
It's just passion. I think that, so I grew up playing football, like soccer. So still played soccer when I was a pro. I just like messed around a little bit, but I really missed the team aspect of it. And I think that as soon as you get there on the Sunday afternoon, you realize that you're part of something really big. I think that to obviously represent your country, your continent, is something that you should be immensely proud of. And for some reason, I think the Europeans do it great. I know the Americans are starting to do it great as well, but we have this unity that you can't teach, right? Like, it's something like I will die for you kind of mentality. Because on paper, we're usually the weaker team, but for some reason, we just become like this incredible unit. And it's just passion. I think that we talked about crowds earlier. You actually feel like you're part of something big. Like, you get on that first tee, you can hear it from the practice range. I don't care if it's half a mile away or whether it's next door. You can hear the atmosphere. You can hear the energy. You can feel it. And it's just something that you get addicted to. Like, I'm addicted to it. Like, I want that all the time. And so for me, Solheim is just it. Like, it's not only just one of the biggest golfing events, obviously, but it's one of the biggest women's sporting events. And if no one's been, you should go. It's insane. I like the heckling. I used to get heckled loads. I got heckled a shit ton at Inverness. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
What's a heckle sound like to you? What's a Mel Reid heckle sound like?
They just chat shit about me, just talking shit, like obviously like miss it left and you shit and all this, and
just, the super creative American chance.
Yeah, really creative. I'm like, come on. I said, look, I'm British. I'm like, you cannot offend me. Like, my mates say worse shit to me on a daily basis. So But yeah, it was funny, that one, because me and Leona didn't. I mean, I'd known Leona for a long time, but we're very different. I mean, we could not be more polar opposite. And when Beanie was like on the Tuesday night, she says, "Hey, can I have a word with you?" I was like, "Sure." And she went, "I know you want to play with Carlotta or Charlie." I was like, "Yeah." And she says, "I'm going to put you with Leona." And I was like, bruh. I was like, she hates me. And she's like, "Listen, you're a veteran. Make it work because I think you guys will kill it." And I was like, "What is she talking about?" So I'm like, "Oh my God, this is going to be horrific." And so I put like my big girl hat on and I thought, right, let's trust the captain here. Like, I'm going to figure this out. So we're playing a practice round and I go up to Leona on the range and I could just see that she wanted me nowhere near her. And I was like, "Hey, I know you don't want to play with me." I said, do you even like me?" And she was like, "No." I was like, "This is going to go great." I said, "I bet you by the end of the week, you're going to be sat next to me at dinner by choice." And she was like, "I don't fucking think so." I was like, "Okay, cool." So we play this practice round and she started to talk to me a bit towards the end. Thursday comes, we're starting to like, okay, this actually might work. We're starting to have a bit of banter. And I said, like, "Do you like high fives? Do you like fist pumps?" Like, she's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, so I'll just give you a hug." I said, I feel like you're a huggy person." And she was like, just freaked out. So I was like, okay. Obviously, she didn't know I was joking. But then that night, we're sat at dinner on the Thursday night, and it was like me, Carlotta, Charlie, Carly was on the table as well. And there was a spot next to me, and someone just put the dinner plate down. And I look up, and it's Leona. And she went off to get a drink, and all of us just looked at each other, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've cracked her. I've finally cracked her." And obviously we went out and killed it. And, we just, I don't know. It's just what Solheim does, man. Like, we became really good friends. And
Wow.
I mean, I would have took a bullet for her. Like, that Friday morning, all the way through till Sunday evening, I would have took a bullet for her. And she obviously was the MVP. And yeah, we crushed it. But she was amazing. And she went from like this timid, kind of overwhelmed, still an incredible player, but very kind of overwhelmed by it all, to like just thriving. Like, that it made her like, and that's what Solheim Cups do.
Are there players that you see that are a little bit more introverted, and then once the Solheim Cup comes around, they are just super competitive and super team first and all the attitude you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, there's been hundreds of them, but yeah, Leona's probably the one that stands out most to me. I feel like Lottie is going to thrive.
I'm
I mean, I
so
know she's gonna
scared
thrive.
about her. I
She's
told
not
Tom
intimidated
this.
by
I'm
anyone or
scared.
anything. Like,
I think
she reminds me a lot of Scottie, right? Like, she's not like the most impressive person to kind of go along the range at. Like, she doesn't hit it a mile. Like, there's not that sound, but and that's she's an incredible golfer. Don't get me wrong, but she hasn't got the swing like Nelly. She hasn't got kind of like the flair of a Charley Hull. But my word, is that girl competitive, and she's got this inner belief that you cannot teach, and she's not intimidated by shit. Like, I remember when she first came out, like when she won on the in Scotland, like she didn't give a shit. Like, she doesn't care if she's paired with Nelly. She doesn't care if she's paired with Gino. Doesn't care if she's paired with Charlie. Like, these big names that are intimidating. If you first come out, they're intimidating to play with, right? Because they have like this energy and aura that great players do. She didn't give a shit. And that's what you just cannot teach that stuff. And that's why I mean, we get certain rookies where we're like, okay, let's maybe just lead them into this gently and put them in four ball. Lottie's just going to thrive. We have no issue with her, and it is a dream. Like, Anna Norquist has the dream there as a rookie.
Totally. Like, this young, this good. I told Tom, I can't remember when this was, Tom, but we were on doing this pod, and I said, like, she might be the Grim Reaper. Like, she's just coming in to kill people. Like, she's not looking like she's trying to make friends.
No,
like,
she just wants to kill you.
I don't.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
The future of Solheim Cups looks scary as a US fan. Let me put it that way.
As it should. Yeah, no, she's incredible. Yeah, we've got some good ones coming through. Like, Mimi Rhodes is another one to keep an eye on. She's a great player. She said I had a mouth of a sailor, so I took that as a compliment.
Oh, you're going to get along just fine, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're just fine. So no, but she's great. Yeah, no, we've got a good team stacking up, so we're excited.
So this is what your second cup as a vice captain, is that right? Second or third? Okay.
Yeah, I played 4, and this is my third as an assistant. Yeah.
How has the vice captain role evolved for you, and how would you describe your role with this year's Solheim Cup team?
Well, it's easy. I don't need to do anything. So, listen, my role is, I'm kind of the one that's like the buffer. So I feel like my gift is that I can understand people quite well, and I know how to make them get the best out of themselves. And it's different from everybody. I mean, like, for example, Charley Hull is like a caged animal. It's like taming a wild beast that week. Like, she just hates the scheduling.
Hates it.
She hates the team meetings. Whereas when I'm there, I can be like, look, just let her go to the gym. Like, I'll relay the message to her. Like, and Charley loves that. So Charley's like, I just want Mel around me, and which is really kind of her to say. But because I trust her and she trusts me, and she knows, I know what she needs. I've known her since she was 12, right? I know what makes Charley tick. Like, I remember when she was going on the singles, Robert Trent Jones, and she got paired with Nelly, and she was, whatever, we were in the gym in the morning. And I said something to her like, hey, if you beat her by 15 or 14, I'll rip a cig with you. Like, as a joke. And she was like, fuck off. I said, no, I will. I said, but you probably won't. You probably will, you probably may beat her on 18. And she went, no, I'm going to kill her now. I said, well, you better do. I said, because I don't think you can get past 15. And she was like, no, watch me. And obviously she won like 7 and 6. Jeez. And she saw me from across the fairway, and she was like this. And she's like, I fucking told you. She's like, come on, let's rip a cig. So she's brilliant. Awesome. Yeah. Like, that thing makes her tick though, right? It's not like, go and have a good job today. No, you've got to get in Charley's world and say something that'll make her like, no, I've got that in my head now. I'm going to do it. So It's things like that. And then you've got other players like Esther last year. She was awesome. She's a very different personality, right? So I had to interact with her differently to get the best out of her. But I feel like that's my role, is that I love the players. I want to get the best out of them. And I feel like they're comfortable with me as well. And they know that they can trust me. So, and that's something that I pride myself on.
How fun is that? Man, Tom, she just teed you up perfectly. Okay, Mel, we want to get you out of here talking about a couple players, just kind of rapid fire. We're going to ask you like, who's the best this or who's the funniest, whatever. Tom, where do you want to go first?
Well, I mean, the one that I'm always most interested in, you mentioned it earlier. I want to know who the best trash talker is. Is there anybody better than you? Who's your competition?
Megan Kang's pretty good, mate.
Oh, really?
Megan Kang, she can give it to you. Like,
are we talking on course? The best one really was
Jess Corder. The best one really was Jess. Me and Jess used to trash talk each other a lot. Yeah, and we're really good friends. Like, I went to a wedding. But during Solheim, we just fucking, yeah.
Is that when it mainly happens? Is it Solheim or is there trash talk?
Yeah, no, Solheim. Solheim. Okay. Yeah, for sure. But Megan Kang's pretty good. Like, even like week in, week out, she's got some good banter. Like, she's a good trash talker.
Okay, so Mark, you specified and you said on-course trash talker. Are you assuming that there's also off-course trash talking? Like, are there people texting you?
No. No.
I mean, like locker room, Tom, is like, okay, is like, hey, while you're walking down the fairway, or is it like behind the scenes?
Yeah, in the locker room, that'd be fantastic.
No, I mean, we only kind of trash talk other stuff in the locker room. Like, I don't know, we talk about the course or caddies or something. Yeah. Just, Perfect. Yeah, a bit of therapy in the locker room is quite funny, actually. On a Friday afternoon, it's the best. Going into the locker room at like 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, if people miss a cut. Yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
A little spicy.
Spicy, yeah.
Got it. Okay, most intense competitor you've ever played against?
Christy Kerr.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Or Suzanne, honestly. Suzanne Pearson. Them two.
Suzanne scares me.
Yeah, she'll scare most people. She's soft, really. She's soft.
Okay. Sneaky funniest. Who wouldn't we know is one of the funnier people on tour?
Sneaky funny. Maya Stark, actually, is sneaky funny.
Good one.
Sneaky funny.
Okay.
Are there players that are just no nonsense? Like, want none of this. They are here to play golf and that's it.
Yeah, majority of them, mate.
And it's your job to crack that.
Man, we teed you up for that, didn't we? We just got off finishing talking about the personalities.
Yeah, it's all business. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, best under pressure.
I mean, yeah, I would feel bad if I didn't say Nelly.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of slam dunk
Yeah.
that one. All right, let's get outside of golf. Who'd survive the longest on a reality TV show?
Charley Hull.
Again,
would
not even a
thrive.
thought. You didn't even take a breath.
She would thrive. We've talked about it. Me and a good friend, Marie and Alex, we text all the time. Whenever we hear a Charlie interview, I'm like, she needs to be in a reality TV show. Like Love Island, oh my God, she would be famous. She would thrive. She'd
Honestly,
be
that'd be so good for the tour if she could do that at the
Just
same
get her on
time.
Love Island. Just give her. But the thing is, she could not hit balls for like 3 days. So that would be, she'd have to put a simulator in there or something.
She's wild because she'll only play like 2 tournaments at a time, but she's still playing golf the entire time. Even when
She plays golf Christmas Day. She plays golf every day. Which is what I love about because there's a lot of players, like people don't understand there's a lot of players on tour that actually don't enjoy golf. They just are very good at it, and that's just how they make a living. I mean, she genuinely just like it just what gets her up in the morning. Like that's her thing. Like she just adores golf, and that's what makes her so fun. Like she just loves it. Like loves golf, and it's cool. Like she just loves playing with her mates at home. Like she'll get off a flight from Asia and just go straight to the golf course and go and like hit balls.
wow.
It's like insane.
I wish I had something in my life that I loved that much.
No, I know it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Mel, we could do this all day. You've been so generous with your time. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
No, of course. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
If you have suggestions for players or topics to discuss on the podcast, send us an email at fringecoverage@gmail.com. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at FringeCoveragePod. And whether you're approaching from the fairway or the rough, we've got you covered inside the Fringe.